All right, just went through factoring, and now we're going to actually see how to solve equations. Remember, an equation will have an equal sign when we have some factors. So x minus 9, x plus 7 equals 0. For this to be 0, either this piece has to equal 0, because then 0 times that would be 0, or this piece has to be 0. And so what I do is I simply set both of these equal to 0, and now I can solve. So I get x equals 9, or what is it, minus 7, x equals negative 7. So either 9 or negative 7 would make this equation true, that you would get a 0 here or a 0 here, and your answer when you multiply would be 0. All right, continuing on with these, we could have maybe x times x plus 8 equals 0, and the same thing holds true, that either x is 0 or x plus 8 would equal 0, which would be negative 8. So we'd get our answer 0 and negative 8. We can also do these if something's a little more complicated. 2x plus 5 and 4x minus 9 equals 0. You don't do anything different. These are just more steps. You still set both of these factors equal to 0. And now you just go through and solve. So x equals negative 5 over 2. Or, what is this? 4x equals 9, x equals 9 over 4. So the procedure is the same for all of these. Now, sometimes you will be given something that might look like this: x squared minus 10x plus 16 equals 0. Well, the first thing you need to do is factor this. So you have, because this is a little difficult to figure out, well, what can I plug in? So always factor your trinomials. X squared would be x times x, 16 would be 8 times 2. The last value is positive, the middle value is negative, which means both of these have to be negatives. So I would get x equals 2 or x equals 8. And so anything like that, you just have to be careful that you factor first. Also, if you have something like this, whenever you take the square root, think about it. Couldn't 4 squared, which is 4 times 4 equals 16, but couldn't also negative 4 squared, negative 4 times negative 4 equals 16. So when we solve for a square, we square root both sides, and we do the plus and minus of that square root. And so that's where we would get negative 4 or a plus 4. And always be on the lookout for the special factoring. Say 36x squared minus 1 equals 0. I remember that 36 is a perfect square. So this is that difference of two squares. So 6x minus 1, 6x plus 1 equals 0. And then I just do the same procedure where I set both of these equal to 0. And I get 6x equals 1. And then x equals 1 over 6. And 6x equals negative 1. And x equals negative 1/6. So always look for those special factoring ones as well when solving these.